What is going on, Restoration Dominators? Rico Garcia here, and this episode is really special because we have a very close friend, Vince Perri, the commercial claims advocate, which maybe you guys have caught one of the earlier episodes with him. And the reason why we're having this particular show is not only did I want to have him on to talk about, some of the new changes and things in his life, as well as in his business, but also the new and upcoming event that he's going to be having here locally in Miami, which is the Advocates United gathering / conference / meetup, whatever it is that you want to call it, which we're really, really excited about. So before we dive deep into the podcast, let me just first and foremost give a quick shout out to all of our show sponsors, starting with CNR Magazine, which, by the way, if you haven't gotten your subscription yet to CNR Magazine, it's very, very easy. All you have to do is go to cnrmagazine.com. On the upper right-hand corner of the website, there's a big red subscribe button. Just go ahead and smash that, pop in your info, and from there on out, you'll just be able to go to your mailbox and get a fresh copy of CNR Magazine and keep your finger on the pulse of the market. So it's really exciting stuff. I also want to give a big shout out to CompanyCam, but again, more about them a little bit later on in the show. So today, we're going to be talking with Vince Perri. Vince Perri is a very good friend of mine, also an amazing public adjuster as well. And he is primarily known as the commercial claims advocate, and he helps a lot of new and upcoming public adjusters really understand the game of insurance, how it's played, and how to best service their customers. So in this particular episode, what we're going to be talking about is all of the changes and that he's seen in his business due to social media, how to use social media, the importance of video creation, as well as what is in store for this new and upcoming event that is going to be happening very, very soon over the course of the next couple of weeks. So make sure that if you want to rub shoulders with tons of restoration contractors, public adjusters, and lots of other pros in this local area, this is going to be a great opportunity for you to go ahead and network and really get some amazing information. There's going to be tons of guests in the video description as well as in the show notes below. We're going to go ahead and provide you with a link to, if you want to go ahead and attend the event, and also the list of speakers that are going to be happening or that are going to be speaking here at this event upcoming. So hope you enjoyed the show. It was tons of fun to jam out with Vince for a little bit, and it's going to be a good show. So enjoy.
Welcome to the Restoration Domination Podcast, where you learn actionable advice that moves the needle and helps service-based businesses dominate. Here's your host, Rico Garcia Jr.
All right, what's going on, Restoration Dominators? Vince, welcome to the show. Are you ready to help us dominate?
Hell yeah, I am.
I guess you must still be a little exhausted, with being out west with the hurricane and everything else, running around doing the whole, public adjusting thing. Like, I get it. Didn't have a lot of energy, but that's okay.
It's yesterday was a long day, that's for sure. Took a break from it today, even though I'm having major FOMO by just not being there right now, but that's okay because I'll probably be back tomorrow. But yeah, no, it's pretty intense. It's pretty intense what's going on there. And, ultimately we work in a profession where the other side that we have to deal with doesn't necessarily do usually what they're supposed to do, which is an explanation that we've been having with homeowners for the last 48 hours, which is, but wait, what are you going to do to help me? It's just well, chances are with the damages that you have here, the insurance company is going to come in and they're going to underpay you. They've got limits. They've got, They've got, what's the word I'm looking for? They got guidelines that they have to abide by. And the fact is you're just not going to get what you need. I mean, about that with water mitigation, restoration, all that stuff. You see it every day.
Cool. So before we get too far down the rabbit hole here, for those that may not be familiar with the name Vince Perri, the commercial claims advocate, fill in some of the gaps on my intro. Let everybody know who you are and what you do in the industry.
So my name is Vince Perri. I am the commercial claims advocate on YouTube, on the Commercial Claims Show, all over social media as a commercial claims advocate. I am owner and CEO of Elite Resolutions. We are a public adjusting firm. I have been a public adjuster for over 14 years now. Just a couple of years ago, I finally just started my own firm, and we've got about 9 guys now across the state of Florida, across the state of Texas. And then along with that, year 10, after, I know you like to read books, but one of my favorite books is by Malcolm Gladwell. What's the one where he talks about 10,000 hours? And I felt like when I was 10 or 11 years into this, I was like, you know what? I feel like an expert. So I started making videos. I started teaching people on YouTube, and I started doing all these things, and it just turned into a thing where now we've got courses, we've got a book, we've got events, we've got live courses, and we've got all kinds of stuff where basically I and some coaches that we teach public adjusters throughout the entire country about claims, the life of a claim, the claims process, and everything that goes into it.
Yeah. And from time to time, yours truly, have actually been on some of the expert panels as well, spoken at some of the events, some of the meetups and everything else. Again, talking about what I'm most passionate about, which is really just marketing and moving the needle for all of us pros in the marketplace. But I wanted to have you on because there's, number one, I wanted to catch up and see what's been new. I mean, obviously, you've had a lot of growth in your company. Tons of students have come through since last time you were on the show. So talk to us a little bit about, fill in some of the gaps. There's been a lot of personal changes in your life as well. So fill in some of the gaps and let us know like what's happened and how your business has evolved.
Oh, but you said personal. I have a 7-month-old.
And personal.
He's pretty awesome, Max. But besides that, he's pretty cool. But yeah, it's been crazy. It's funny how, when I first read Crush It by Gary Vee, and he just talks about the day and age that we're living in social media, where people's attention span is literally like less than a couple of seconds, that if you are not providing ultra valuable information to people, they're just going to keep scrolling. There's no sense in them looking. So he talks about, anyone who hasn't read the book, he talks about just giving it away for free. Give the information away for free. Don't feel like you're giving away any secrets. As a matter of fact, give the secrets away, because when people run into a wall or they're trying to figure it out even more, they're going to go to you for those secrets. So I did it to ultimately get more claims, but what it's turned into is just a whole other thing where I've managed to establish myself as an expert in the industry. It has obviously helped my own personal business in getting, much better claims. But it's also helped a lot in the recruiting aspect, where it's very easy for me to, on a weekly basis, to get 1 to 3 applications a week of people who want to either become public adjusters and come work for us, or are public adjusters and just want to come work for us. And it's all allowed me to not only grow the education side of it, which is a commercial claims advocate with the book and the courses, but also the Elite Resolutions part of it, which is the actual claims representing clients throughout claims process part of it. And it's allowed us to really grow that part of the business as well. So, and it all started with a weekly YouTube channel. That was it. And
right.
To this day, I will tell you, Rico, anything could happen in this world. Our number one priority with Commercial Claims Advocate is Content Wednesday. That is the number one priority over anything else. It could be, the world could be collapsing and there could be an attack in New York City. We need to come out with Content Wednesday one way or the other.
Nice. Now, a lot of people feel stressed out when they talk about, man, producing content, right? And what is valuable content? Because a lot of people just feel that either they're just getting into the industry, regardless of the industry that they're in. I'm talking about, this could go for a brand new public adjuster. This could go for a brand new water tech who just is getting into the business. There are always going to be people that are going to want to hear your message, that are going to want to go ahead and share, to kind of be like that fly on the wall in your journey, right? So I think there's a lot of fear when it comes down to putting out content out there. And a lot of people feel like they're kind of spinning their wheels and not comfortable with it. Let's talk about that for a little bit, right? Because again, social media for you has been huge. Social media for me has been huge as well. And, you and I both preach a lot about, hey, get your message out there. Just get your message out there. Talk to people. Try to give as much away for free as you possibly can, which again, I'm a realist. And I also know how like quote unquote free is. Free is always a hook. I hate when people say like we give everything away for free. Like Gary V has a different business model. He gives away his ideas for free, but he doesn't have courses and other shit. He sells books whenever he comes out with a book, and that's what he's pushing ultimately. For everybody else, if you have a course, if you have a mastermind, if you have everything else, you're giving away certain things for free to whet appetite that may get people closer to their financial success if they implement those things. But ultimately, really what you're trying to do is you're using that as a lead magnet to really sell. I'm a realist. I do the exact same thing. So I just want to get that out and clear in the open so that people don't call bullshit on what free really is. Because if not, you and I wouldn't have courses, right? So let's just get that out of the way. But as a general rule, right, regardless of where people are at, they should have something to share. A good experience, a bad experience, how they got their teeth kicked in while knocking on doors trying to get business. Like, is that the kind of stuff that people should be sharing on social media, and how will that potentially affect their business?
One thing I tell my guys, because we're trying to encourage them to get on social media on the elite resolution side of it. We have a YouTube channel that we started now with that as well. I just encourage my guys to just talk about things that they know. To me, that's very important, because the biggest compliment that I get from the YouTube channel and from my social media is how authentic I seem, right? Nobody really knows who I am, but everybody always tells me that. And I truly am. I literally tell people all the time, I am not a construction expert. I don't do videos about estimating. I don't do videos about the type of texturing on the wall or on the floor or whatever it is, because I don't know about that stuff. I only talk about stuff that I know. So one of my guys the other day, wow, he made such a great video, because he's been in the roofing industry for a while. He's done a ton of door knocking, and he does a simple 1-minute video about, hey guys, if you're in the hurricane, there's going to be a lot of door knockers that are going to come, and they're going to come. Make sure that you ask for these 3 credentials when, someone comes to your door. And I was like, honestly, for me, I was like mind blown. I was like, that's super interesting. I never even would have thought about it. But because it's something that he knows about and it's something that he's done, you have to go a little bit outside the box. Okay, how can I make this educational? But he knows about it. He comes off as authentic. And that's what I think for me. I always tell the guys, like, don't try to talk about stuff that I talk about or whatever. Don't try to like, for me also, Rico, I didn't talk about business building for the good first 2 years or so, because, I had just started the Elite Resolutions firm, and, I really just started to educate myself. Now, I've got a business coach. I'm part of another coaching group. You and we read tons of books. I read so many books about business. It's all I loved. And I've learned a lot. We've implemented all these entrepreneurial operational techniques to our company. So I'm starting to know more. So guess what? Now I'm starting to come out with content for that as well, because I feel comfortable to do it. And I think just when it comes to the content, just make sure it's something that you know, because if you're talking about something that you don't know, people are going to see it from a mile away. You're going to be known as, just a bullshitter, and you don't want that. And when it comes off as authentic, and when it's something that it's going to be more valuable to the people, because you are the expert in that whatever content that you're trying to talk about.
Yeah. And something else that I think is really cool too. And again, it's all about how you present the information, right? Like, you don't have to be the person who knows everything. There's zero need for that. But even let's say that because you're saying only talk about things you know. Well, guess what? Like, the moment that you attend a seminar or a mastermind, or the moment that you read a paragraph in a book and it touches you, guess what? You know that now. You may not be a total expert in it, but now you know that information. And what is really interesting is that we are all interpreting what we read and or hear. So if Vince and I read a certain book, he's going to walk away with certain tidbits. I'm going to walk away with different tidbits, right? And then our way of presenting that to the public and saying, hey, look, by the way, this is something that I just learned that I'm looking to implement in my business. This is what I'm taking away from it and how I plan on using it. Let me know what your thoughts are and how this can affect your business. Well, guess what? Just by doing that, number one, you were authentic, because at no point did you say that you were an expert on, let's say, like EOS or something like that, right? Yeah. But you're saying, hey, look, I find value in this. Maybe someone's watching that. They were not even familiar with like EOS or any of that. And now they found that information through you. Why? Maybe they were just a step behind. I mean, Vince, call a spade, like, you just started reading recently. Like, you just like, hey, I can't believe it's taken me this long to read Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich.
Oh my God. I can't believe it either. But one thing I want to tell you about that too, that you were talking about reading a book. I'm totally over, by the way, people that tell me I don't read.
Oh my
I
God.
don't like to read.
Right.
I'm totally over it. I used to be like, okay, well, if that's not your thing, then that's okay. No, if you're in business or you're just doing anything and you're not educating yourself, whether by reading a book or an audiobook, like you're just doing something wrong. So, but yeah, that's so funny, right? Think and Grow Rich. That book has been around since what, 1937 or something like that.
Yeah, something like
And I
that.
can't,
Crazy.
that one, and the one, Rich Dad Poor Dad. Also, I just read it. I wish I would have read that book 20 years ago, man. Damn it.
Right. So it goes to show, right? Like even like for you, so like for me, like I've read Think and Grow Rich time and time again. As a matter of fact, I think I did like an entire podcast on it just recently, just because again, it was that time of year. I'm going over it again and I've got more copies of it than I know what to do with. Cause I buy like different versions of it. It's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things. But just because you've read it and just because you're familiar with it doesn't mean that you shouldn't be talking about it. And again, this is just like one little small segment of what you can be producing on social media. The other thing that you can be producing on social media, I mean, like give us some additional examples of like other things that they can go ahead and put out there that would be useful to other pros and also maybe to people's prospects.
I mean, day in the life stuff is always good because people want to see what's going on in your life as a professional. I think it's good to mix in personal stuff. A lot of people like to do that. A lot of people don't but it gives people a little bit of a behind the scenes look as to what's going on. So everybody loves when I put Max on social media. But again, I mean, just day in the life, personal stuff, and then just whatever it is that you think is going to grab somebody's attention is going to be good. I really love the educational route. I mean, I've been an educator for probably going over 20 years now from when I just used to teach tennis. And it's just something I've always been very passionate about. So I do try to, even when I'm showing some kind of day in the life, I usually like to bring it around to some kind of educational material, something that could actually just help somebody out as best as they can. But we've had the conversation, like we just had the hurricane. What's my favorite post that people post? The trajectory, right? The trajectory. Let me screenshot the trajectory and show everybody where this hurricane is going. Like nobody has this on alert on their phone, or they're not watching the news 24/7. It's like, give me some tips as to how we should prepare for this. Give me some tips as what I should do after this hurricane hits. Something of value to just like show me, hey, maybe it is some kind of trajectory that's different than others. Something, but you got to make yourself different. That's another thing I'll tell you. It's just stand out and just do something different. You always laugh at me because I always do opposite, but I'm a big firm. If I see everybody going this way, I'm trying to figure out a way to go this way. That's just
right.
Who I am, though.
Right. Let's talk a little bit more about you being over people that don't want to read.
Over it.
So a lot of people say that they don't like to read. Number one, they're probably slow readers. It's also not a lifestyle for them. But I want to go ahead and touch on this because it kind of steamrolled over it. Reading does not have to be the traditional form of reading. You do not need to read a book cover to cover. You do not need to read a book that is filled with filler. You don't need to read each and every single word and every paragraph and every page on the book. So reading comes in my opinion, in several forms, especially now. And two of the apps that I use, one of which is my new favorite, but two of the apps that I use, one of them is Blinkist. Okay. And then the other one is Headway. These are two super, super powerful apps that literally just a couple of minutes a day, you can get the full essence of an entire book. So there's like zero excuse for you not to be exposed to new ideas. I mean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I agree. You introduced me to Blinkist. I tried it for a little while. It really wasn't for me. But what I've noticed is that the more I read, the faster I get. Jim Quick's a good one that you can go to who teaches you how to speed read, helps you with memory and stuff like that. I learned some tricks from him, and I also learned some tricks from Tim Ferriss on how to speed read. And you realize that I think we're always too caught up in making sure we understand every word and making sure we understand every line, where a lot of times I like to just sort of scroll through it. My cousin gave me a good advice is you shouldn't read the word over in your head. You should avoid doing that.
Yeah, I told you about that too. Remember about the humming, about just like humming 1, 2, 3, like in your head. Like that's what you do. You're reading while in your head saying 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Right. And that helps to kind of bypass that need to enunciate the words in your head, which is a really bad practice that we get.
I just think I never had trust in myself of actually comprehending the information. So I would be like, oh, I don't get it. So let me just go back and read it again. When if you just kind of steamroll through it, you get the gist of it. You understand exactly what's going on. If you have to go back and read it again, but chances are by the next paragraph, you're going to sort of catch up to maybe something you had missed, or by the next page, you'll catch up. And that's what I've noticed. I mean, I'm still getting better in my reading practices, and it's just the speed reading has only gotten better. My new thing, though, now is I like to have a book that I'm reading and have a book that I'm listening to at the same time. So like when I'm in the car, I'm listening to a book, and when I'm at home, I'm reading a book, just so that I could knock two out at a time. And sometimes I'll add a third physical book because, I don't usually buy physical books, but somehow I end up getting them. I don't buy them. It's just seminars and things that I go to, I get given books. So I also have a physical copy that I'm usually reading. I've also tried to now avoid reading at night and force myself to read in the morning, because I do find that I comprehend the information much better in the morning. And the best one is listening to an audiobook while you run. Holy moly, it is better than being in the car. Obviously better than, walking around the house or being in the grocery store. There's just too much going on when you're in the grocery store or when you're driving the car that honestly you tend to miss a lot. Man, when you're on a run, you get everything. It's amazing. And people think like, how can you listen to a book while you run? It is the best. I mean, I literally did Think and Grow Rich on about 7 separate runs, and I was done with the book. And it was just, I just got it all. It was like I just absorbed it all like a sponge. So that's a new one for me too.
Yeah, I mean, and also there's a huge benefit. There's scientific research that shows that if you read multiple genres, if you will, let's say, for example, if you read like personal development book, but then you're reading something else on science, and you're reading something else on another subject, what ends up happening is as you're navigating through these books, all of a sudden you start bouncing these ideas that just miraculously come up because you're not really thinking about one thing while you were concentrating on the other. It's like, this whole, melting pot of ideas that kind of take place. The other thing too is how to be effective at reading, right? And there's so many different ways. People are like, dude, I don't want to talk about reading books. Well, let's just take a quick snapshot of what the benefits are. One of the benefits of getting good at reading is every single one of us as pros are reading emails. What if you can cut your email reading time down in half? Every single one of us is going to review contracts. Well, what if you can get through contracts at half the rate? There's an importance to being able to read and to train yourself how to read effectively. But let's just take a step back from that for a second to actual have some tactical advice, right? So if you want to get through a book, so one thing that we are taught in school, which I think is kind of bad from an entrepreneurial standpoint, is that you have to finish what you start, right? And that's kind of like, with a book, if you start from page 1 all the way to the very end. But there's ways to hack that, right? One of it is look at the back cover of a book or the inside cover of a book. The majority of what the book is going to be about is right there, right? So the way that I look, especially if I have a physical book and I'm considering whether or not I want to buy it or whatever the case may be, I will look at the back cover, inside cover of the book, and then I kind of get the gist of what I'm looking for. So I'm training my mind. I'm pre-framing my mind for what this author is ready to tell me, right? Then at that point, I look at the table of contents and I just skim the table of contents. All right, cool. So this is about, A and B and C. Okay, cool. So now I've got that. Then what I do is I thumb through all of the pages and I look at the titles, right? So these are basically the big letters, right? Either the sections and or titles. And then I'm skimming that without reading any of the meat in the middle. And I go through it that way once. I go back through it again. And this is literally, this is going to take 8 minutes, 10 minutes maybe. And then you go back through it again. And then you start reading the smaller, but yet bolded print. Well, then guess what? By the time that you've done that 3 times, right? Back cover, front cover, table of contents, big titles, little titles, you've got 90% of the book. Now you can go ahead and start saying, okay, cool. What else do I need to know? And if you want to take it a step further because you legitimately hate reading and you don't care about reading faster, just go on to YouTube and just type in the title of the book and summary, and you will get a summary of the book. And then this will give you a really good indication of, is this a book that is going to be useful to your life, because that's really what it should be about, right? Like, because reading right now about, I don't know, what to expect with, when you're expecting, like that does nothing for my life right now. It's like, why would I read that? It's going to add zero value to me.
I read that one.
I read that too. But the point is, it's like right now, I don't need to read it. Why would I read that at this stage of my life? So you have to like find the content that's useful to you, that you're looking to go ahead and fill in those gaps in your knowledge, in your personal life, in your business, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah. I mean, I love it. I love finding a new book. I sort of, every once in a while, I'm usually reading, like I said, 2, 3, 4 books at a time anyway. And every once in a while, I like don't have one. Or there's one that I hadn't finished yet and I went back to read it. But I do the same thing, man. I do the same thing. I read the inside, the back, whatever it is. I definitely go through the table of contents. That's very important for me. I always download a sample first, because, like you said, if I don't have the opportunity to go through the whole thing, if I download the sample and I start reading it for about 5 or 10 minutes, I'm just not interested. It's just that I'm not going to buy it. So, that the downloading the sample is big for me, but that's good advice I can do on a physical book on doing that. But I do find this thing where I do like to complete the book. I do like, if I'm interested in a book, I do like to take it all the way to the end, which is sometimes very difficult because, so for those of you that are frustrated that you never finish a book, I completely understand. It is difficult to sort of like get to that last page, but I do always, me, I like challenges and stuff. I do like to complete the book and get to the end of it whenever I do get to the end. But that's something I do like to get to the end. But a lot of times, honestly, like you said, it's not really worth sometimes getting to the end. You got the whole thing. You got the gist of it. It's just a thing in my mind where I want to complete it and I want to finish it.
I love it. So let's talk a little bit about this upcoming event that you have going on. Crazy. I mean, you've been doing meetups now for quite some time, a couple of years for sure. And, like I've been there pretty much since the beginning, like we, very first, like one of your very first meetups, and, just a couple of people just got together, not a big deal. And, slowly but surely, there's been a lot of traction, a lot of camaraderie from the industry that have come to the events. And now you're not even calling this one a meetup. It's an event. Now, you got, a whole bunch of speakers. Unfortunately, I haven't gotten a speaking invite, but that's okay, from all over the place. So talk to us about this event and what it's going to be all about.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, you want to take it back to marketing. I'm sure you'll like this, but that's a Seth Godin thing, right? Is build your tribe. That's what it's all about, is we're just building our tribe. And I've got the personality for it in regards to, this is my personality. Like I am a relationship builder. Like this is my superpower, is building relationships with people and communicating with people. So it's like, it works really, really good for me. It's just like, let's join this tribe. Let's come together. We are stronger together. And I've been sort of advocating for this, as since the very beginning. Luckily I had already been a public adjuster for about 10 or 11 years. My claim flow, my workflow is totally fine, whether I get along with public adjusters or I don't get along with public adjusters, whether you, Rico, refer me or whether you don't refer me. Like, it's okay. Like, let's just all get together. Let's share the knowledge. I'm not afraid to say it is us versus them. Ultimately, we're just little small business owners, ultimately going up against a multi-billion-dollar industry in the insurance company. And if we don't get together, it's just going to make it harder and harder. And I think it's come at a really good time with all the different laws and everything that's going on. It's like really good that it ain't just me. It's a lot of other people are doing a lot of meetups, I've noticed as well. There's a lot of conferences, people getting together, and I just think it's very important to do so. And our meetup started off with me literally going on social media and saying, hey, you want to come meet me? Because I had a YouTube channel before, a travel channel. I always noticed how they'd go to different countries and they would like meet up with their fans. So I was like, let me try it out. So I got on the thing. I was like, hey, I'm going to be in Miami today. I'm going to be at this bar. You want to come meet me? And like 26 people showed up in the pouring rain. And I'm like, holy crap. And I didn't know it. I didn't know who any of them were. And I just thought it was weird. So this is like real. Because sometimes you get messages in the beginning and you're not sure. Is it a bot? Is it a real person? Like, I don't know. That person really exists. So then all these people come and they're like asking me all these questions and they're thanking me for the videos. And I'm like, what are you thanking me for? I'm just doing this thing. And then I tried it again, 20 something people. And then the third time was the one that was a little bit more official that you went to, which is the one in Tampa. I don't know. There's 30 something people there, nothing crazy. And then we just did it more and more and more. And eventually Now we have Advocates United, and we always get, what do we always get, Rico? It's about 100 people in all these things. And this one is going to be probably, I think we've already got like 70 or 80 tickets sold. What the hell? For me, you know me, I'm always like, it's the truth, man. Like I work my ass off. I work really hard at it. I do everything that I can, but I'm also very humble in the fact that it still surprises me. Like when somebody wants to take a selfie with me, it's just like the weirdest thing in the world still. Whenever people even show up to these events, I'm just still surprised that social media still trips me out. I don't know if it trips you out. Like I get it and I understand it and I know how to take advantage of it, but it still trips me out that this thing that we're looking at is like goes across other channels and other people are able to see it across the country. And then you put on this event that you don't really know who's going to show up. Now we know because we're selling tickets, but in these events, you don't really know who's going to show up because you don't really see the people and you're not shaking their hands and personally inviting them. But then you go to this event and there's all these people and it's just like, it's always just still a surprise to me. And I feel like it's good. Got to stay humble. You got to stay like, always striving to get better because there's always room to do more. And ultimately, our idea for the events is really just, it's the power of coming together. To me, that's what it's all about. It's just getting the industry together. That's always going to be my main focus with these things. And nobody's going to come together just for me. As much as I may think that I have a lot of reach, it's not just for me. Ultimately, if I don't provide the value with the speakers and give people a reason to come, then, nobody's going to show up. So I just stretched my legs a little bit and I tried to see if I could reach out to just some different people. Like different people don't normally do some of these things. And like Jack Hanks is one, he doesn't really usually do it, but the son of a bitch is on a giant freaking building every other day. And I think people want to know how he does it, and I really wanted, if my message is really stronger together, all our speakers are educators just like me. Jack has a course.
What I want to do is I actually want to talk about like some of the speakers that you're going to bring on and some of which I've had on the podcast, some of which you've had on your podcast as well, which for all those dominators out there, if you haven't checked out Vince's podcast, I'm actually going to go ahead and drop a link in the video description below, as well as in the show notes. So that way you guys can go ahead and check his podcast out as well. He's got some amazing guests there. But I want to talk about the guests, what they bring to the table. But let's go ahead and take a quick moment and thank our sponsors. Hey, Dominators, real quick, let me ask you a question. How would you like to increase productivity? How would you like faster claims resolution? And more importantly, how would you like to reduce litigation? Well, this is exactly what Impartial allows you to do. Impartial creates timely, accurate estimates for faster and fair claim settlement. Building upon Matterport's technology, the Impartial Scope tool extracts the relevant data embedded with pre-mitigation and post-mitigation scans and subsequently renders an exactimate or assimilability estimate that can be approved by a carrier without any hesitation. The magic here is that the software helps contractors generate mitigation and repair estimates for more rapid approval from insurance carriers while removing the burdensome administrative process. Each Impartial estimate is produced with objective accuracy using immersive 3D imagery and precise physical and geospatial measurements. Impartial, in my opinion, is one of those tools that simply can go ahead and change your business. And with so many features such as impartial tags, timestamp matter tags, the ability to upload JPEG, PNG, ESX, and so much more. Impartial is that software that could genuinely change your business. Make sure that you check them out in the video description below or in the show notes and see for yourself. Hey, Dominators, real quick, let me ask you a question. Have policyholders struggled to come up with your money because it's held with the mortgage company? Or does the percentage of uncollected debt that you collected in 2021 exceed over 2.5%? Or even better, let me ask you this. Do you dread negotiating with your policyholder when it comes time to collect your final payment and deductible? So look, if you answered yes to any of these questions, then you need to check out Surety. You see, Surety is a third-party fund control company. And what they do is they ensure that you get paid faster, and more importantly, completely for the hard work that your crews are doing. Surety relieves not only the policyholder, but you of tremendous administrative burden while ensuring that the claims process, and more importantly, the proceeds flow via ACH to the rightful owner, you, the restorer. And here's the best part. For less than the average credit card fee, Surety delivers on numerous fronts. So here's what I want you to do. If you want to learn more about how Surety can help you, I want you to head on over to www.surety.com/dominate and request a free demo today. Now listen, Restoration Domination listeners just like you are going to receive a really cool offer, and here it is. You're going to receive an exclusive offer which includes free processing for the first insurance claims check and 3 months of free access within their network. Again, that's Surety, sureti.com/dominate. Photo documentation is possibly one of the most important aspects of what it is that we do in the restoration business. Not only so that the client knows exactly what's going on, but also so that you can prove your work to insurance companies. One of the best ways that I found to go ahead and document our projects is by using CompanyCam. CompanyCam is an amazing app. It has so many features, everything from time-stamped and GPS located photos, individual project files, unlimited photo storage, in-app communication with your crew, a live stream of all of your projects as the photos are coming in, as if it was an Instagram feed. So from a managerial standpoint, CompanyCam can help you there as well. But more importantly, it gives you the ability to protect your organization while documenting and keeping everything nice and neat. So we've got a really special offer for you. If you go to CompanyCam.com/dominate, not only will you get your 14-day free trial, but you're also going to get the first 2 months 50% off. So again, head on over to CompanyCam.com/dominate. Get the app, and I'm sure you're going to love it. All right, we are back. By the way, I like the little salsa moves you like there. You're putting on there. That's great. For those of you that can't see because you're listening on the on your phones or in your car, Vince is throwing his little salsa dance to my beats, which is pretty cool. A lot of people actually do that, which is great. I always get to see them like as it's rolling. They're like jamming out to my little Miami salsa beats. All right, so let's talk about some of the guests that you're going to be bringing to this event, and a little bit about their background and what you feel that they bring to the industry. So that way people can kind of get a feel for if they choose to go, which especially if you're down here in the South Florida area, I would certainly recommend for you to go. It's a great opportunity to meet other great contractors, make some great connections, and also walk away hopefully with something, with a little nugget of gold that can move the needle in your business, that can go ahead and add revenue, real business, value to you and your business. So talk to us about some of the guests that you plan on bringing.
It is literally impossible to walk out of this event without learning something. It's impossible because all of the speakers are educators themselves. So on the public adjusting side, again, back to the Stronger Together, I literally got all my competition in the public adjuster education realm. I got Jack Hanks, who's got his own course, Cal Spoon, who's got his own course, Matt Mulholland, who's got his own course, Jeromy Leavelle, who's one of our coaches at Commercial Claims Advocate. We are all educators. We're all technically competitors, but we're all coming together for this event because we understand the importance of public adjusters knowing this stuff. You've been in this industry for a long time, Rico. We've seen the bad apples, and we've seen the people who just, what are they doing on these claims, right? They're just throwing a bunch of shit against the wall. And they're just like, hey, let's see what we can do. And they just, oh shit, I dropped my phone. And they just don't know anything. And it's like, we got to help these people. So there's going to be, if you're a upcoming public adjuster, if you don't come to this event, you're just missing out. Obviously, if you're an attorney, you're going to be in a room full of public adjusters, but you're going to learn also from another educator in Brittany Alexander, who educates about what? Not just the law and insurance claims law, but dude, she's mastered Instagram, has she not? She's crushed it. She's got 30, 40, 50,000 followers on Instagram, and she's an attorney. How many attorneys are always in their little suit and everything, and they don't think that they should do social media, and they're still printing huge billboards, and they're doing all these different things that that they could just for free. She has been able to build. I'm not saying anything a secret. She said it. It's a multi-million-dollar law firm through social media.
Yeah, on our last on our last legal corner, obviously Brittany Alexander comes on, lawyer Britt, and we were talking about that, like just the, how she built it, her entire practice organically. And you're talking about multiple seven figures. Like, it's nothing to shake a stick at. And it's through being genuine, being transparent, being funny, being personal, and just using the power of social media and finding her tribe just by posting and just being authentic and saying, hey, look, this is who I am, right? Like, and I think that that's like what's powerful, because certain people are not going to want to do business with me just because, I don't know, I'm a South Florida, Cuban cat. Like, I don't know, like they're just like, I just don't like the cat with the tattoos, and he speaks too much with his hands, and he, gets me, like, that's cool. That's not my person. They're never going to do business with me anyway. So that's not who I'm talking to. But that's like the power, right, of using that kind of stuff. So yeah, Brittany's going to be super huge and amazingly valuable.
And I've asked her to speak about just that. I said, Brittany, like, is that okay? Like, everybody's going to know that you are the lawyer who does insurance claims. I think that's a given. But if you get up on that stage and you educate about social media, that's going to hit not only the lawyers who are going to go, which are there for, obviously, right, for the reason of getting work from public adjusters, but it's going to help public adjusters as well. So I'm not the only one up there with any kind of social media success. It's like, no, she's like way more successful than me on social media. So she's going to be talking about that. Chris Courville, Chris now. I know you've met him. I mean, he put on a great, did you see his presentation that he did on our course? Dude, tremendous. Like, if you're in water mitigation or any kind of restoration, and if you're a public adjuster, this guy is just really, really great at documenting. I know you're really great at it too, but I'm sure even you could learn just little. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I didn't think about doing that. And he's got a whole presentation that he does that he's on our course now as well, where he teaches literally the ins and outs, the ABCs of proper documentation and doing it right. Now, I know we talk about documentation. Sometimes I even shake my head. We're talking about documentation again, but he's got a little bit of an art to it, a little bit of a twist to it, which I think is very unique. And he could handle small losses and massive theater and shopping mall complexes that could get a little bit more complicated. He's able to do it. So that's going to be fascinating. I hope I'm not missing anybody out except for the last person I'm going to mention, which really, did you interview Hunter as well? Hunter Ballew. He is the guy in charge of RoofCon. He was able to build a roofing business to, I believe it was 8 figures plus, and was able to sell that business as well. I think he built it in just a matter of a few years and then was able to sell it as well. He's a marketing genius, because obviously we all know, and I know roofing is not about hammering shingles onto a roof. Roofing is about marketing, right? And if he's able to build that business from whatever it was to, I think, 40, 50 million he sold it for, the guy's a hell of a marketer. He's got a hell of a story. He's a hell of a speaker. And he's going to bring, I already know what he's going to talk about. And it's going to be about just really a lot of the stuff that you see in Think and Grow Rich, like just like power, passion, action, goals. And it's going to be, I think it's going to be very, very impactful. It's going to be a little bit of a twist, right? There's going to be a lot of stuff about public adjusting, about claims, about documentation, about social media. And then Hunter's going to bring it with just some powerful, impactful, I'm hoping life enriching stuff that people are going to be able to walk away just like, okay, it's time for me to get after it. So it's going to be fun, man. It's the first time we charge for tickets. Everybody tells me I'm totally undercharging. So from this day on, I'm going to double the prices now.
Yeah. I mean,
no, but everybody keeps texting me. He's like, dude, I would pay $200 for this. Why are you charging this?
Yeah, you know what's funny about those people? Send them a link. Send them a link. No, like those people, send them a link. Be like, you know what? That's great. Thank you so much. I appreciate your support. Here's a link. 50% of them go ghost, because that's like the fake raw. Now, mind you, I'm not saying that that's expensive. I'm saying you should. I'm just making fun of the people who, and who you are. If you're listening, you're like, yeah, I do that shit. Like, dude, you should totally charge more. And then you finally do. And they're like, I'm not paying that. Who does he think he is? Right. So I just think it's comical, like how that works.
You know me, I have a lot of pace and patience, which I tend to, although some people they just started watching me and they're just like, oh, look how successful he is. It's been a long road. Rico, you've been a part of that road for the last, I think, 4 years or so. And I do tend to move slow. I like to be very methodical and make sure I'm not afraid to take action, but I like to be methodical, make sure I get things right. So this is like the first time we're going to charge. What I envision for it though is a full day event. One day. I don't want it to be two. I really liked the Riva event. I thought that was a good event. And I want it to be something where it's just like quick like that, where it's like the Riva event was great because it's just one day.
Right.
These 2-3 day conferences for me, it's just like, well, we've walked through conferences together. It's like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah. What do I do now? Right. I think we all have, right? It's like, well, what do I do now? Do I really want to be here the next day? Or like by day 3, like I'm a 2-day event, like type of guy. Like I'm in first day. Great. You're trying to get to the speakers and everything else. And, next day you're probably looking at vendors. And then, but the third day, it's like, what are you doing? It's like,
Yeah. So it's the first time finally we got a really nice venue too. We always did it at Dave & Buster's, but now we have the Hyatt in Coral Gables. We basically have 2 rooms. We have the main room, but then there's like a hallway room right outside where we're going to have all of the sponsors and everything in their booths. And right now it's just a 2 to 7 event, but yeah, I've already pretty much decided it's going to eventually be a full day event. I'm just going to always try to have different speakers, make it very educational, make it very valuable, a little bit of time to network in the beginning, time to network in the middle, and then time to network at the end. And then we're doing the after party, which is right across the street at something 13 brewery. I wasn't supposed to say it. I think it was going to be a secret.
No, was it? Here we go. You heard it first, Dominators. Hi.
No, it's fine. So yeah, so right across the street, we're gonna do. I know
exactly what you're gonna do too right now because you let it slip. What you're gonna do is you're probably gonna go on social media and just be like, "Yo, blast it off," so that I don't post it first.
It's a VIP after party, so you gotta kind of get tickets in order to go. So that's gonna be cool. Just get a chance to mingle with everybody. But I'm excited about it. I think it's gonna go well. I hope the hurricane doesn't hurt our attendance at all. But I think by October 28th, I think it'll be a nice break. Because you know how this craziness for like 2, 3, even 4 weeks, and we're going to be at around the 4th week. What's a 4-hour drive? And not really, because we're talking it's Naples and Fort Myers. What's a 2-3 hour drive?
It's nothing.
Down to Miami. Let loose, take a break. Obviously, we're going to be talking
more importantly, that's around the time where I think, and this is again, it's all about, effort in and what you're going to get out. Right now, there's a lot of PAs that are out there signing claims or doing whatever it is that they got to do. You got to collect and you got to perform. Same thing with contractors. So this is going to be the perfect time around 4 weeks from now to where now you've got, some deals that are inked. You're going out there, you already kind of got a lay of the land, but now what you're doing is you're going to take a little bit of a step back. You're going to sharpen your axe. You're going to go back into the field, hopefully armed with this like new knowledge and, the nuggets that you were able to take from some of the speakers and from the people that are just going to be there, at the event. Period. And now you go back and you really start causing some damage, right? You really show up for your client the way that you're supposed to show up. And I think that timing just really couldn't be any better.
You're right. I should double the price.
100%. Like, yeah. 100, like there's like no excuse.
Yeah. It's gonna be awesome. I'm excited about it. I'm a nervous wreck. As you know, I've told you before, I'm pretty introverted actually. So I'm always a nervous wreck the day of those events, but man, when they're done, I'm like, that was awesome. It's like I used to edit videos. Yeah, I used to edit videos when I had a travel channel, and God, I hated the process of editing the videos, but man, the result was always like beautiful. And same thing goes for these events. The prep, the marketing of it, the promo videos, the landing pages, and everything that we set up, it's a lot of work. Then even me getting up there and speaking or shaking hands and kissing babies like Rico Garcia likes to do for a few hours, that's tough. But when it's all said and done and we're at like the happy hour having some drinks and I know it's over, I'm just so like, yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, so but I'm thinking about, now that I'm hearing you talk and the fact that this is going to be down in my neck of the woods in Miami, maybe I should put on an after party VIP event. I'm thinking maybe party bus tour of Miami. I don't know. That might be good, for restoration folks that want to get out there and, see the streets of Miami. I don't know. That'd be fun. Yeah. Maybe we should do something like that. I think that'd be great.
Well, Rico, we are still looking for a sponsor of the after party if you would like, if you're interested.
Oh my God, I'm totally interested. This is my contribution, like right here. Boom. There we go. But yeah, man.
It'll
So
be there.
cool.
It'll be
So
fun.
we got the event. This is going to be on the 28th.
28th.
October 28th. What I'm going to do for everybody watching and listening, I'm going to leave a link to the information page where you can go ahead and buy your tickets. Amazing lineup of speakers. Every time that we've gone, that I've gone personally, I've met amazing people that are really looking to go ahead and move the industry forward. And if you are in the industry, this would be a good time to, and in the Miami area, or want to be in the Miami area. Again, this is only a couple of hours away from Fort Myers and Sarasota, Tampa area. So I know that there's going to be a lot of contractors that are going to be there. If you want to take a break, you want to go ahead and pick your head up for air, this would be a good event to come to. So just make sure that you RSVP in the link that we're going to provide below and get your tickets, and make sure that you make it out to the event. For those people that need to get in contact with you, Vince, that they want to get some additional information on the Commercial Claims Advocate and all of that stuff, or about the event specifically, where should they go to check that out?
CommercialClaimsAdvocate.com. You can find everything there. On social media, Facebook, it's Commercial Claims Advocate. On Instagram, it's Commercial Claims Advocate. And our weekly YouTube show is a Commercial Claims Show on YouTube, where every Wednesday we have video that comes out. Almost every Monday, we have our Claims Game podcast that goes out, which is also available on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts, and a few others that I can't remember what those, Anchor and something else. And then what else is there? I think that's it. Oh, and then we have the other YouTube channel, which is kind of strictly geared just towards policyholders. Commercial Claims Advocate turned into a real educational channel for public adjusters and contractors, where the elite claims advice is really just geared towards homeowners to just understand sort of what it's all about. That channel just kicked off. If you guys can subscribe to that and get that ball rolling, that'll be pretty cool too. And we got some of the adjusters who are actually go on there, and they also educate policyholders about different things.
Awesome. Amazing stuff, Vince. Thank you so much. I know that you're probably chomping at the bit, trying to get back out there in the field in the Tampa area, because you're right there pretty much at ground zero. There's a lot of homeowners that are going to need some help. So thank you so much for taking the time to hang out with us and share everything that's going on, giving us all of that advice on, the books and literature and all of this stuff, which, by the way, there's always going to be links to all of the books that were mentioned in the show. So if you ever want to check out any of those, that would be great. And remember, Dominators, make sure that you get out there, register for this upcoming event. There is a very high possibility that yours truly will be there as well. Would love to meet each and every single one of you. And as always, hustle, hack, dominate. I'll see you guys on the next one.
You've been listening to Restoration Domination, your #1 resource for tips, tricks, and hacks to help your business grow. Subscribe to our channel and follow us for more Restoration Domination. And follow our host at Rico Garcia Jr. on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Till next time, this is Restoration Domination. Hustle, hack, dominate.